This invincible boy enters the ladies' room to spy until he realized he made a big mistake. What would you do if you had this kind of power? Let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to like and subscribe to show your support. Thank you. The film opens with a young man named Michele Silenzi cycling on his way to school in Trieste, Italy. He has a 50 note on him that he intends to spend on a costume for an upcoming school party. In class, he takes a seat behind Stella, the girl he has always had a crush on. His lesson is suddenly interrupted by Giovanna, a police officer who also happens to be Michele's mother. She has come to inquire about a student who has recently gone missing. Giovanna requests that the class contact the police if they learn any information regarding the missing student. Once she departs, Michele's nose begins bleeding, prompting him to hurry to the bathroom. The bullies who frequently harass him corner him and demand he give them all his money. He goes back home feeling disheartened by the confrontation. Michele gathers some coins he had stored away and resolves to purchase something with his savings. Michele subsequently enters a run-down-looking shop and inquires about a superhero costume. The proprietor gives him a very snug suit, accompanied by a poorly made cape. The owner alleges that it is the uniform of a superhero from China. Michele appears unimpressed by the outfit but proceeds with the purchase regardless. When Giovanna gets home from her job, she finds Michele wearing the costume and declining to attend the party, convinced he appears absurd. She encourages him, saying he looks acceptable, and persuades him to go to the party. At the event, Michele enjoys himself and even has a conversation with his crush, Stella. However, his bullies interrupt by displaying a video capturing Stella as she walks along the street. They allege the footage was discovered on Michele's phone, accusing him of spying on Stella. A humiliated Michele flees to the bathroom and secures the door from the inside. His classmates all pound on the exterior of the door, demanding he unlock it. Michele feels exasperated and wishes he could become invisible right as the lights extinguish. The following scene shows him leaping from the bathroom window and making his way home. The following morning, Michele is awakened by the sound of his dog barking at him. He disregards it initially and proceeds to the bathroom to brush his teeth. Upon gazing into the mirror, Michele is utterly stunned to observe just his robe and toothbrush. His physical form is unseen in the reflection. Michele rushes out and removes his robe. At that moment, his mother comes in and overlooks him entirely, proving only Michele can perceive himself. As she begins to scan the area, Michele swiftly jots down that he left for school early on a note and sets it on the bed. Giovanna reads the note and accepts the explanation. Upon exiting the room, she telephones Michele on his mobile. The unseen Michele answers the call, assuring her that he is okay. Unsure of his next move, he attires himself in clothing with long sleeves. Having concealed every part of his form, he heads to school and observes Stella from a distance. Michele soon spots his bully and decides to get revenge for all the harassment. He disrobes completely and walks into the school, naked and unseen. In the middle of a lesson, he seizes the bully's paintball marker and fires it at the teacher, resulting in the bully's suspension. Michele subsequently ventures into the girls' locker room and observes them changing clothes. Abruptly, a towel lands on top of him, revealing his outline clearly to everyone present. In that instant, his abilities start to weaken and he rematerializes. The girls cry out in shock upon discovering the naked Michele beneath the towel. The following day, Michele attends his class, where a psychologist named Basili delivers a presentation on teenage mental health. Two of Michele's peers have disappeared from home recently, so he believes it vital to comprehend the adolescent mindset. As Michele listens to the lecture, his hands start to glow and then vanish abruptly. Luckily, the class is dismissed, and he dashes outside before his vanishing can be witnessed. He races home, ensuring his entire body is covered, and finds his younger sister Candela in his bedroom. Michele requests that she go downstairs, turning himself to face the wall. A curious Candela opens and then shuts the door, tricking him into thinking she has departed. Michele fails to look back to confirm and begins to remove his clothes. When he pivots back, Candela screams, terrified by the sight of her invisible brother. Michele soothes her and explains that his costume is the source of his new superpowers. Concurrently, at the police station, the psychiatrist Basili collaborates with Giovanna on the investigation into the missing children. Giovanna maintains that the children might be kidnap victims, whereas Basili contends they are merely acting rebellious, typical for their age group. When Giovanna arrives home, Michele remains in his invisible state. Giovanna is on a phone call with someone, during which she reveals that Michele is adopted. A shocked and wounded Michele exits the house and walks to a nearby set of swings. As he is swinging, Stella shows up and mistakes Michele for a ghost. She does not appear frightened, rather she proposes that he become her friend. He sketches a smiling face in the sand as a way to interact with her. The pair agrees to arrange another meeting. Following Stella's departure, Mikkel notices a man close by who is observing him. Despite Mikkel's invisibility, the man moves away with the aid of a cane, indicating that he is blind. That evening, Michelle goes to Stella's house. Stella is ecstatic about having acquired an invisible friend. The two share a kiss, but just then, Michelle's powers start to wane. He flees the scene before Stella has a chance to see his face. Sometime later, Stella is by herself in her gym class when a needle injects her in the back. This action makes her lose consciousness. In the meantime, Michelle has resolved to confess to Stella that he is the invisible boy. He makes his way to her gym class, accompanied by his dog. Upon reaching the building, he spots a masked figure carrying Stella. Michelle assaults the man, and the dog sinks its teeth into his hand. Nevertheless, the man successfully gets away with the girl. Afterward, the police show up at the location. They realize the missing children were not runaways but have actually been abducted. Stella regains consciousness in an unfamiliar facility, her head attached to multiple wires. The psychiatrist Vasily is present and is questioning her. It is revealed that he is the individual responsible for abducting the children. They conduct several tests on the girl before transferring her to a cell. Two of her friends who had vanished prior to her are also being held there. The following day, Michelle is by himself on a nearby beach when the blind man from the day before suddenly materializes before him. The man provides answers to all of Michelle's inquiries before Michelle can even voice them. It seems as though he possesses the ability to read minds. When Michelle demands his identity, the man discloses that his name is Andre and that he is Michelle's father. The boy refuses to believe Andre and charges him with lying. Andre subsequently starts to recount his story. He was once an ordinary man living in a small Russian town until a catastrophic nuclear explosion struck the area. The radiation resulted in many deaths and instigated a lasting transformation in others. It triggered mutations in their DNA, granting them extraordinary human abilities such as flight, telepathy, and invisibility. These individuals were dubbed the Specials and were transported to a military installation known as the Division to be exploited as weapons. The Division pushed them to use their powers past their limits. The more abilities the Specials utilized, the more debilitated they became. An additional side effect was that all of them were sterile, with the exception of Andre and Michelle's mother. The couple conceived Michelle, the first special child, but he was taken from them immediately after his birth. Consequently, the parents chose to escape with Michelle and managed to do so. However, the individuals from the division were not prepared to relent. They pursued the couple in an effort to retrieve the boy. Michelle's father possessed mind-reading abilities while his mother had the capability of invisibility. Andre successfully fled with Michelle, but his wife was killed by the division's forces. Andre understood Michelle was not secure with him, leading him to leave the baby at Giovanna's doorstep after assessing her mind and confirming her goodness. Currently, the agents from the division have learned that the special boy resides in the town, so they are abducting children and conducting tests to identify any specials. Upon learning his true background, Michelle is in a state of shock. He finds it hard to believe, but Andre insists they lack time for discussion, as a nearby fisherman finds Andre suspicious and has contacted the police. Andre provides Michele with a suit that renders him invisible simultaneously with his body. He subsequently wipes the fisherman's memory before departing. Soon after, the police show up, accompanied by Basili. Giovanna discloses to him that Michelle is adopted, leading Basili to suspect he could be the special child. He volunteers to drive Michelle home. Once they arrive home, Michelle observes the injury on Basili's hand, matching the location where his dog bit Stella's abductor. He regards the man suspiciously and attempts to flee, only to find Basili has locked all the doors and intends to abduct him. Michelle dashes into a room and disrobes, turning invisible. He succeeds in escaping the house as Basili pursues him. While out on the streets, Michelle spots his bully, Ivan, riding his bicycle. He hops on behind Ivan and urges him to speed away quickly. A visibly nervous Ivan complies. After they get to a secure area, Michelle shows himself to Ivan and informs him about their classmate's abduction. In the meantime, Stella and her friends spot a ventilation shaft in the ceiling. They form a human ladder, allowing Stella to successfully climb out. While evading the guards, she ascends a tower and gets to a large searchlight. Convinced her invisible friend is searching for her, she creates a smiley face emblem on the light, projecting it toward the sky. Michelle observes the smiley face and understands Stella is attempting to transmit a signal. He and Ivan track the light, but just as they arrive, Stella is apprehended by the guards. Ivan triggers an electrical short circuit with his paintball gun as the invisible Michelle slips inside. He observes Basili and his operatives monitoring Giovanna and Andre, who have joined forces to find Michelle. He proceeds deeper into the facility and incapacitates a guard with his weapon. He coerces the remaining guard into unlocking the cell where Stella and the others are confined. After releasing them and locking the guards inside, Michelle reveals his presence to his friends, leaving them utterly astonished. The children want to escape, but Stella demands they rescue an elderly man she spotted confined in a separate room. She and Michelle set off to save the man, but Stella instead guides him directly to the antagonists and aims a gun at Michelle. She abruptly collapses, unconscious, and the old man positioned behind her begins to speak. It is revealed that he possesses the ability of mental control. He had been manipulating Basili and Stella to lure Michelle to that location. The man proceeds to lower a submarine, forcing Michelle and Stella inside it. His men transport them out to the sea. At that very moment, Andre and Giovanna reach the facility and encounter Ivan. The structure is rigged to detonate in a matter of seconds. They rapidly rescue the other two abducted children and Basili from the interior. Andre scans Basili's mind and discovers that someone else was controlling them. They successfully evacuate the area quickly, just before the building explodes violently. Meanwhile, on the submarine, Michelle awakens his telekinetic powers and begins to destroy the surroundings. By utilizing his abilities, he successfully kills the man and rescues both himself and Stella. They eventually make it back to the shore, where a large crowd has gathered to wait for them. Michelle becomes invisible before the crowd, demonstrating his power. Andre informs Michelle that they must wipe everyone's memories, as the division will inevitably resume their search. Michelle consents and shares a final kiss with Stella. Andre promises he will be back and then departs after erasing the memories of everyone present. Everybody goes back to their ordinary lives. The scene transitions to a location in Russia. Michelle's mother, previously believed to be deceased, was merely wounded during the confrontation. She overcame the division at that time and currently commands the organization. It is revealed she was the one who dispatched those agents to retrieve Michelle for her. The woman now harbors resentment for all regular people who regard them as monsters. A flashback reveals that Andre actually escaped with 2 children on that day. The film concludes as the guard informs Michelle's mother that Natasha is located somewhere in Morocco, hinting at a potential sequel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to share your thought in the comment section. Like and subscribe to not miss when another interesting recap is dropped.